Hello, friends. Welcome back to Whispers of Time. Have you ever felt too tired to study English, even though you truly want to improve? After a long day of school, work, or responsibilities, opening a textbook can feel like climbing a mountain. Many learners struggle with the same problem: lack of time, low energy, and frustration with slow progress. In that moment, the idea of learning English while you sleep sounds almost magical. Imagine pressing play on an audio lesson, closing your eyes, and waking up better at English. No stress, no memorizing long vocabulary lists, no complicated grammar exercises, just effortless improvement. It feels like a secret shortcut, especially for busy people who are already overwhelmed. But before we believe in this dream, we need to ask an honest question. Is it real, or is it simply an attractive myth? When people talk about learning English during sleep, they usually mean listening to audio, words, phrases, or simple stories while resting or sleeping. Some use headphones. Others play audio softly through a speaker near their bed. The hope is that the brain will absorb the language automatically. The desire behind this method is understandable. Learning a language can be difficult. Many students face clear obstacles, forgetting new vocabulary the next day, struggling to understand spoken English, feeling embarrassed to speak, or losing motivation because progress feels slow. These challenges create frustration, and when frustration grows, shortcuts become very tempting. However, the human brain does not work like a recording device. During deep sleep, your brain is not actively learning new complex information. In fact, it is busy doing something else very important. It organizes memories. It removes unnecessary information. It strengthens connections between ideas you already studied. This means something very important. You cannot learn brand new grammar rules or completely new vocabulary from zero while you are deeply asleep. If that were possible, everyone would go to bed a beginner and wake up fluent. So where does the confusion come from? The misunderstanding often happens because sleep plays a powerful role in memory. When you study during the day, when you actively read, write, repeat, and practice, your brain begins forming new memory connections. Later, during sleep, those connections are strengthened. This process is called memory consolidation. In simple words, sleep helps you protect and organize what you already learned, but it does not replace the learning itself. Here is where many learners make a mistake. They skip active practice and hope passive listening during sleep will do all the work. Then they wake up disappointed. This disappointment can damage motivation even more. But this is not the end of the story. While deep sleep is not a time for learning new lessons, certain relaxed states, like when you are falling asleep or lightly resting, can still support your English journey in small but meaningful ways. The key is understanding how to use this method correctly, without unrealistic expectations. Instead of chasing magic, successful learners focus on combining smart techniques with consistent effort. Sleep listening is not a replacement for study. It is a support tool, a quiet assistant, a gentle reminder of the language. The real solution is not avoiding effort. It is understanding where effort matters most and how to reduce frustration by working with your brain, not against it. In the next stage of this discussion, we will explore what science truly says about the possible benefits of listening to English during relaxed states, and how you can use it without harming your sleep or your motivation. When we move beyond the dream of magic learning, something more realistic and more powerful appears. The truth is not exciting like a fantasy, but it is practical. And practical methods are what truly help learners escape frustration. Science shows that while deep sleep is not a time for absorbing completely new information, your brain does something extremely important during the night. It strengthens memories that were created while you were awake. This is where many learners misunderstand the process. Think about a common problem. You study 20 new English words in the evening. You repeat them several times. You feel confident. But the next morning, half of them are gone. This experience makes many people feel hopeless. Maybe I'm bad at languages, they think. But the real issue is not ability. It is memory reinforcement. During sleep, your brain reorganizes information. It decides what is important and what can be forgotten. If something was studied clearly and repeatedly during the day, sleep helps move it from short-term memory into long-term memory. This process is called memory consolidation. It does not create new knowledge, but it protects and strengthens existing knowledge. Here is where relaxed listening can play a small, supportive role. If you listen to vocabulary or phrases that you already studied earlier in the day while you are lying in bed, relaxed but not yet fully asleep, your brain may gently reinforce those connections. It is not learning from zero. It is strengthening what already exists. This is an important difference. Another struggle many learners face is understanding spoken English. Even if they know vocabulary on paper, real conversations feel too fast. Words blend together. The rhythm feels unfamiliar. This creates anxiety and sometimes embarrassment. Passive listening, even when resting, can help reduce this fear over time. When your ears repeatedly hear the natural rhythm, stress patterns, and sounds of English, your brain becomes more familiar with them. You may not understand every word while half asleep. That is not the goal. The goal is sound familiarity. Over time, English begins to feel less foreign and less intimidating. Imagine moving to a new city. At first, everything feels strange. The sounds, the traffic, the language. But after weeks of hearing it daily, your brain adjusts. It becomes normal. The same thing happens with language sounds. There is also a psychological benefit that many people ignore. For some learners, English is connected to stress, exams, fear of mistakes, correction from teachers, pressure to speak perfectly. If you listen to calm, slow English stories or gentle dialogues while relaxing, your brain may start associating English with peace instead of pressure. This emotional shift can be powerful. When anxiety decreases, confidence grows. When confidence grows, active learning becomes easier. But we must be honest about limits. If the audio is too difficult, your brain will not process it meaningfully. If it is too loud, it will disturb deep sleep. and poor sleep harms memory more than any listening method can help. Sleep quality must always come first. So the realistic conclusion is this: sleep listening is not a miracle teacher. It is a light assistant. It supports memory reinforcement, improves sound familiarity, and may reduce emotional stress connected to the language. However, without daytime study, reading, writing, speaking, practicing, there is nothing for sleep to strengthen. The real transformation happens when you combine active effort with smart reinforcement. That balance is what helps learners move from frustration to steady progress. Next, we will look at how to use this method correctly, when to listen, what to choose, and what mistakes to avoid, so that it becomes a helpful tool instead of another disappointment. Understanding the science is only half of the journey. The real change happens when you apply it correctly. Many learners fail not because the method is useless, but because they use it the wrong way. If you want this approach to help instead of disappoint you, you must be intentional. First, choose the right content. This is where many mistakes begin. Some learners play advanced podcasts or fast conversations while they sleep, hoping their brain will figure it out. But when the material is too difficult, it becomes meaningless background noise. Your brain cannot strengthen something it does not recognize. Instead, choose simple and familiar material. Vocabulary lists you studied earlier that day. Short phrases. Slow and clear dialogues. Simple stories with repetition. Repetition is powerful because it signals importance to your brain. If you learned 15 new words during the day, play an audio that calmly repeats those same 15 words in sentences. That way, you are reinforcing existing pathways, not trying to build new ones from nothing. Second, control the volume and protect your sleep. This is not optional. Some people make the mistake of playing audio loudly all night. Poor sleep damages memory, focus, and mood. If your rest is disturbed, you will feel more tired, less motivated, and less able to concentrate the next day. That defeats the purpose entirely. Keep the sound low. It should feel like soft background noise, not a lesson demanding attention. You should be able to fall asleep naturally. If headphones are uncomfortable, use a speaker placed at a safe distance. Comfort and safety matter more than technique. Timing is also important. The most effective moment is before you fully fall asleep, when you are relaxed but still slightly aware. Your mind is calm, and the information you studied earlier is still fresh. Listening during short naps can also support reinforcement. Even when you first wake up, playing familiar English for a few minutes can gently activate your brain in the language. But remember the most important rule. This method cannot replace active learning. If you skip speaking practice, avoid writing, and never review vocabulary during the day, sleep listening will not rescue you. Real progress requires effort. It requires repetition while awake. It requires making mistakes and correcting them. It requires using new words in sentences and conversations. Think of sleep listening as a small bonus, not the main strategy. It keeps English present in your life even during rest. It supports memory. It reduces fear of sounds. But the real breakthrough happens when you speak despite feeling shy, when you review words instead of scrolling on your phone, when you practice even on difficult days. Many learners feel stuck at some point. They feel like they are not improving. They feel embarrassed when they cannot express themselves clearly. But the way out of that tunnel is not searching for magic. It is building consistent habits and using supportive tools wisely. So what is the truth about learning English while you sleep? It is not a miracle. It will not make you fluent overnight. But when combined with daily practice, it can gently strengthen your memory, increase your comfort with English sounds, and reduce emotional resistance toward the language. Progress in English is not about shortcuts. It is about smart effort. Protect your sleep, study actively, use reinforcement wisely, stay patient, and most importantly, keep going. Consistency, not magic, is what turns struggle into confidence.